What's up guys, welcome back to week 2 of the Generations Pokemon League, the GPL. Today we're taking on the San Francisco Sceptiles and Joshmo Gaming. Once again, this audio is post-recorded, so I'm just going to be sitting here watching the battle myself and kind of explaining what's happening. So, obviously you can look at his team and it is very... I guess the best way to put it is there's 3 mons here that I knew he was going to have. I knew he would have the Garchomp, the Tapu Koko, and the Victini. The Shaman I was not expecting. I was expecting the Ditto. I was 100% expecting the Ditto. So I went into Atlas hoping he would go into Tapu Koko, but unfortunately he did what I thought he would, which was go and start with the Victini. But the Victini went for a Thunder Wave, I'm assuming to try to get the Garchomp, or not the Garchomp, English, the Jirachi. But I went for a counter, hoping, I was kind of more so checking if it would be physical or not. It was special, which was kind of surprising. I was expecting it to be running V-Create and Bolt Strike, which is basically what scared me the most. So I went for the Custom Berry Explosion. I knew he was going to switch into the Empoleon, but I wanted to just see. Walnut was not going to be doing anything else for the rest of the battle anyways. He was paralyzed, he was on 1 HP, and he was slow as hell, so my best bet was to just go for an explosion. I don't know if he was expecting the explosion or not. He probably was, considering he switched into a steel type. Otherwise, he probably would have switched into somebody. If he was expecting like an earthquake, he wouldn't have switched into a steel type. So at this point, I'm trying to think of what I can do. I can either go into Lanny and try to bring something out, or just go into another mon. I decided I would go into Lanny, Mega Evolve, and go for a Drain Punch, because whatever comes out is going to be getting some of its health sapped. At this point, I'm still thinking, like, do I want to Drain Punch? Do I not want to Drain Punch? This entire battle kind of had me on my feet a little. I was not sure what to expect. The Victini being special instead of physical kind of threw me through a loop. So I was not 100% sure if he was going to be doing anything else that was out of the ordinary. I don't really think I saw much out of the Empoleon, but he does, I believe, he's taking some time at this point, and I'm just kind of overthinking and thinking if I should do anything or not. He ends up going into Serenity, his, what's it called? Shaman? Yeah, sounds right. We both have a mon named Serenity. I didn't even notice that in the battle. But at this point, I just decided that my best bet is probably to go for a Poison Jab, because I'll probably outspeed it, and I can probably get a kill at this point. So, of course, I end up canceling that, and just, again, going through my head, just wondering, what should I do? Because I don't... At this point, the Poison Jab, if I go for the Poison Jab, he may predict it and go for the Empoleon. I don't really know what, like, his plan was, so I just go for the Poison Jab. The Shaman lives, it Leech Seeds, and at this point, I can either go for a Drain Punch and get the kill, or I can go for the Poison Jab and get the kill. If I go for a Poison Jab and he switches out into Empoleon, then I'm wasting a turn and losing more to Leech Seed. If I Drain Punch, whatever's coming in is going to get some health taken back, as long as it isn't the Victini or the Tapu Koko. So I just decided, you know what, screw it. I think my best option is to switch into Drop Top. At this point, I'm still afraid because that Victini will make a little bit of benefit out of the drought, but I go for it anyways. He goes for a Toxic, which basically means that Drop Top is not going to be able to stand out in battles that much, but who knows. I'm not 100% sure, so I just kind of go for set up on a Stealth Rock and go for an Overheat. Whatever's coming in is going to not enjoy an Overheat, so Empoleon comes in, takes the Overheat, we get our White Herb, and that's basically it. So next up, I don't know what he goes into. I think he goes back into... He doesn't... What surprises me, I think he goes back into... I think he goes into the Garchomp. But yeah, he does go into the Garchomp, which is to be expected. So at this point, I can either stay in or I can switch out. So I said, you know what, screw it. I don't know what he's going to go for, so I'll just switch out. I was hoping he would go for an Earthquake, so I just go into Serenity and just kind of hope for the best. I'm not 100% sure what this Garchomp is going to do, but I don't know. I'm freaking out in my head at this point. There's a lot of anxiety this battle, so like I basically kind of sit here for the most part, wondering what he's gonna go for. But in the end, we probably were worrying more than we should have. The first 2 weeks have been super stressful, but I think, honestly, personally, I think we have a good standing in the GPL right now, so I don't think we have too much to worry about. But, you know, there were a lot of waiting games. I don't know if Joe was, like, doing damage calcs. I've never run a damage calc while in battle, but I switch into Serenity. He predicts and goes for a Rock Slide, and that kind of screwed me up a little. So I decided, like, I don't know what I can do. If I Thunder Wave and he doesn't switch out, then I'm screwing Serenity over. I could go for a Dazzling Gleam and see what happens, because the only thing that's going to resist it is the Victini. I can go for an Air Slash, but I just go for the Dazzling Gleam and say screw it. He loses a little bit when he switches into Shaman. It does not kill, which kind of sucks. So he's probably, at this point I know he's probably going to go for either a Toxic or a Leech Seed. So I have a choice of switching out into somebody and hoping he goes for Leech Seed instead of Toxic. So I go into Atlas, and he actually goes for Toxic, which helps us. So at this point, we are doing pretty good. So at this point, I just go for Body Slam, because if it doesn't kill, if he had switched out, there was a good chance something was getting paralyzed. If he didn't switch out, then the Shaman was dying no matter what. So there was just nothing really to worry about. At this point, we're playing more waiting games. It's fun, isn't it? This is the most nerve-wracking part of the episode, don't worry. Let's be 100% honest. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna just like stay silent as these waiting games go through, because this is what I would have done while we were actually battling. Yeah, this is how long these pauses last. I don't know what he's doing. I'm definitely going to be looking at his side of the battle. So I'm just panicking at this point. Like, there's literally not there. If this had been recording at this very moment, I was like breathing really heavily and freaking out. But then yeah, he goes into the what? It's got a name. Sneasel. If I had to take a guess, he was doing damage calcs to see if a knockoff would kill Atlas. So he was kind of weighing his options, because he could have gone into Garchomp or Victini, but he probably didn't want to lose Victini. So I just switched into Drop Top, ate the hit. I knew that I would live another knockoff and get the overheat and hopefully win. So I did not know if I would outspeed or not. I knew, again, like, even if he switched out, whatever is eating this overheat's dying. I don't know if he expected me to switch out or not, because he goes for an Icicle Crash, and I don't know why, but I go for an overheat, I get the kill, I get the special attack drop, which kind of sucks. He's now down to 1 HP, so Drop Top is basically dead. There's no point in trying to switch out, because the second I switch back in, he's going to die from poison. So right now, we're 1-3, I think. Yeah, I can't tell. Looking at this, the outlines don't fade that much, because I'm using the, what's it called? I'm using, like, the actual, like, app, I guess, like, download for it. But at this point, I just try to go for an Earth Power. I know I'm not going to outspeed it in any way, shape, or form, but I don't want to waste time switching out. So at this point, I can go into Escargot, who's still perfectly fine, mind you, or I can go into Lanny. Lanny's not really going to do much, so at this point, I'm weighing my options. Atlas will die. Serenity will probably die, because he's probably running T-Bolt. So honestly, my best bet is probably Escargot, but I'm still kind of weighing the options, so I just go into her. And at this point, if I don't Earthquake, I knew that if I outraged, then Coco would come in, so I just went for the Earthquake. I got the kill on the Victini. The Victini is the thing I was afraid of most. He gets the para, though, so that kind of sucks. If I had gotten paralyzed then, he probably would have switched out, but at this point, I can either Outrage and see if he'll switch out, or I can go for Ice Beam. I'm a little surprised at what happens next, though. I'm paralyzed right now, mind you. He could probably do anything. He probably, like, Outrage me and be fine, but he probably doesn't, knowing that I would go into Togekiss. So he goes for the Rock Slide, trying to get the Flinch and the Para. I break through the Flinch and the Para this time. I Ice Beam, and I OHKO. So at this point, we're 4-1. So we've lost 2 Mons. So we can just go for an Earthquake. He's going to Brave Bird. It's going to kill. But Gooey plus Rocky Helmet and the recoil gets him down to 58. He's more than likely slower than every Mon we have at this point. I don't know if this thing was choiced or not, but I just go in to Lanny. I think I go for a Poison Jab. Yes, I outspeed and I get the kill. So that is it. We won our second week battle, guys. We did way better than I was expecting. We lost 3 Mons, but we still won. I was not expecting a win. I was definitely expecting the Victini to be a threat to us. I was also expecting him to bring the Ditto, but specifically because I thought he would bring the Ditto to try to transform into Jirachi or Togekiss and get the Serene Grace. But with that, we have won our second week. We are 1-1 right now, so we're doing pretty good. Next week, I don't know who we're taking on, but it will be a very exciting battle. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I am PCBloodMaster, and I will see you guys next time.